Before we move on to considering page margins, I just want to take a moment out to consider whether or not your book needs a bleed. Now, if you have images that you want to extend to the edge of the page, whether it's a whole page background or maybe a corner image that you want to extend into the margins, any page elements that extend into the margin have to extend beyond the trim size and to the edge of what we call the bleed area. Now, I find it helps if you think in terms of the trim zone, which is the area between the safe print area and the bleed area, as a no end zone. Basically, what it means is that anything that extends beyond this point here has to extend right to the edge of the bleed zone. And the other thing to bear in mind is that even if you only have one page in your book that's a full page image or that extends into the margins, then the whole book must be set up as a bleed book. So I'm going to give you a more visual example. This is from one of my books, and if you can see the black line around the outside, that is the edge of the bleed zone. The orange square I've added, it doesn't actually appear in the print version. I've added it just to show you where the trim zone lies. And as you can see, on the page we have background elements, the flowers and the shed and the fence, and they extend beyond the edge of the page into the margins and out right to the very edge of the bleed zone. Now, we have other graphic elements such as the publisher logo, and we have the text box that need to stay inside the safe print area. So you can see they stay inside the chevron zone, as I like to call it. Everything else has to go right to the very edge. So once you've got that sorted, if you have even one page, you must do a bleed book. So we're using Createspace as our example, so I've just copied their instructions onto this page so it's easier for you to find. Createspace require 1.25 inches at the top, bottom and outer edge only of your page, and that translates into 0.25 of an inch higher and 0.125 of an inch wider than your trim size. So the way to do that, make sure you're on the page layout tab, click on size, and then scroll down to the bottom, click on more paper sizes, and where you have your existing trim size in already, just add in 0.125 wider and 0.25 higher, and then click OK, and you can see that the size of your page has actually changed. From this point forward, when you're calculating margin sizes or anything else for the interior of the book, base your calculations on the trim size of your book and not the bleed size of your book. So we will still, in this example, create the calculations based on a 7 by 10 inch trim size and not based on the bleed size. Don't worry about word rounding up. As long as it's rounding up and not down, you're fine. So I hope that clears up the bleed question for you, but if you're still confused, if you have any questions, please ask in the course discussion area and I will get back to you. And I'll see you in the next lecture where we're talking about margins.